It's the Extra Yard on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I'm Alex Donno. Got Hussam Patel sitting in the Troy Stratford chair. Hussam, how you doing, sir?
I'm good, man.
Oh man, I don't know if it's your Wi-Fi or my Wi-Fi. Somebody's Wi-Fi
Working?
stinks. You there? You there? I think
Yeah,
you're
I'm
working
here.
now.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm here.
Good. So, first things first. A lot of people's attention was gotten earlier this week by reigning Heisman Trophy winner, USC quarterback Caleb Williams, who just had a freaking phenomenal year. Obviously, you better have a pretty good year if you're going to win the Heisman. He was asked about, teams that he'd see as a good fit in the NFL. Now, he's not in this draft. He would not be draft eligible until next year. But he was asked about teams that would be a good fit for him in the NFL. And Caleb Williams loves everything about the Miami Dolphins. Loves Mike McDaniel, loves the weapons that the Dolphins have, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and he specifically mentioned the Dolphins as a team being a great fit. And I didn't even know about this angle of it until I was reading up about this earlier today. A lot of people, like Dolphin fans, were very upset that apparently Tyreek Hill liked a tweet about this story. But, maybe he liked the tweet because he said something nice about Tyreek Hill, not because Tyreek Hill wants Caleb Williams to replace Tua. I mean, Hussam, I don't think Caleb Williams is ever going to be a Dolphin because they'll probably have to be bad enough to have the number 1 overall pick next year to draft him, and I don't think that's going to happen. So, no, I'm not insulted by the idea that Caleb Williams wants to be a Miami Dolphin. People don't need to take this as some kind of a slight on Tua Tagovailoa.
Let me show you one play real quick that I think that many Dolphins fans would like to have a quarterback that can make a play like this. Is the video working?
I see it. Yeah.
You see it?
Yeah. I can see the screen. Here we go.
Go ahead. It's first quarter. USC is up. You have Caleb Williams in shotgun formation.
What a stud.
He goes ahead and takes the snap, and he's playing against the Stanford Cardinals. Now, look, the Stanford Cardinals defense isn't the best defense in the Pac-12. There are not a whole lot of great defenses in the Pac-12, but all over Caleb Williams' tape and film, he's making absurd plays like this. I mean,
he's a freak.
Holy crap. Like, do you see where the ball is placed?
That is a dime.
The ball is thrown. I mean, but you got to mention the fact that the offensive line did their job in pass protection over here. I mean, let me go ahead and skip it just a little bit right there. I mean, he's got all day to make this throw. Look at it.
But that is such a beauty.
That is a beauty. I mean, we saw a beauty like that when Tua Tagovailoa threw it to Tyreek Hill in the Baltimore Ravens game. Yeah. Not once, but twice. And Jalen Waddle once in that same Ravens game, but Waddle was covered by 2 defenders. Guys, why are we overreacting to this? I really, really don't freaking get it.
I just take it as a freaking compliment that that arguably the best quarterback in college football right now thinks that the Miami Dolphins have so much potential on offense that he thinks that would be a great situation for him. Now, there's another side of it
I don't think he's the greatest college. I don't think he's the best quarterback in college football right now. I think
Bryce Young.
No, Drake May.
Yeah, he's good. I know firsthand how good Drake May
I think it's Drake May, but dude, you have a crap ton of players right now that's upcoming in the draft that would love to be drafted by maybe their hometown teams or a team they think has the best uniforms. Doesn't mean shit. Why are we overreacting? I mean, who does not want to play in Miami at this point?
I mean, if you're a quarterback right now and you look at Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, you look at this offense, why wouldn't you be? But there's another side of this that I kind of find to be funny because I was filling in for Mark Hochman yesterday. I was hosting with Channing Crowder, and we talked about this a little bit on the Hochman Crowder show. And then Channing made a good point because he's been through the draft process before. His agent used to tell him that, if they ask you what team you want to play for, just say whoever drafts me. Like, don't even like tip your hand to whose offense you like or whose offense you don't like, because you don't want those words to ever be used against you in a negotiation in the future. So just keep your mouth shut. Just say, I would love to play for whoever drafts me. So I guess Caleb Williams, he's probably got an NIL agent. Like, he doesn't have an agent yet, but somebody probably should have told him, if they ask you what team you want to play for, just keep your goddamn mouth shut.
That was back in the day, Alex. The players like that, players are not. I mean, respect to Channing Crowder. Loved watching him when I was growing up. I'm making him feel old right now. You tell him
Yeah,
that.
seriously. What kind of a backhanded comment? When I was like 3 years old, I loved watching him play.
We got to get Channing on the pod so I can make fun of him.
Yeah.
But players aren't like that anymore. You know, they're out. I don't want to say outspoken, but they have personalities.
Yeah.
They they will talk what their mind says, and they don't care. At this point. And Caleb Williams, you know, he made a comment that should have been passed under the rug. He's like, "Oh yeah, I would, you know, playing for Miami would be super cool, super dope." I mean, Lamar Jackson almost said the same thing too, right?
Yeah. That's right.
Pretty sure a lot of quarterbacks would like to play for Miami. That doesn't mean Tua's job is in jeopardy. That means Caleb Williams isn't necessarily better than Tua, or Tua is better than Caleb Williams. Is just a comment.
Hmm. Yeah, and also as I mentioned near the top, very unless Caleb Williams draft stock takes a nosedive next season, I highly doubt the Dolphins would be bad enough for a top 1 or 2 pick that it would take to draft the guy, because yeah, you're not going out there and adding Vic Fangio to run your defense and hoping and assuming Tua is going to be fully recovered from the concussions next year. And now, that he's enrolled in Cobra Kai karate, he learns how to fall correctly. So these are not even going to be issues going forward.
You
So
sure
the
it's not Weenie Hut Junior karate? I'm kidding. I'm
Dolphins.
kidding. I'm kidding.
But then,
Totally.
there's another thing going on with Tua, and this was being talked about all day yesterday on ESPN. They were featuring the Dolphins, and they were talking about Tua, like his long-term future in Miami. This was coming up on everyday part on ESPN yesterday on Tua's long-term future. And I think Hussam and I kind of disagree on this, and for different reasons. So first things first, there's going to be some talk about, when do you try to lock in the long-term extension with Tua? Because, he's eligible for a long-term extension as soon as this offseason, but he's still got up to 2 years left on the rookie deal, because he's got, 2023 season coming in, and then there's a team option for 2024, which the Dolphins can pick up. So I highly doubt they're going to start doing the long-term extension this offseason. I think they would save that for the next. But you and I disagree on that, because I think, Hussam, you are looking at it as more of like a glass half full, because you're worried that if they let Tua play another year without the long term, that he may overperform, where I'm kind of worried if you lock him into a long term now, he may have some injury issues next year, and then the Dolphins are going to regret making that commitment.
I think, first off, let's talk about the two options, right? The
Yeah.
first is the 5th-year option.
Which I think they should pick up the 5th-year option, because that's for
So, Alex,
23
you say
million.
they,
Yeah.
they pick up the 5th-year option, right? Just to be on the safe side.
Yeah.
There's only been like 3 or 4 players within the recent 5 to 6 years where they've picked up the 5th-year option for Dolphins players. It was Devontae Parker. They exercised the 5th-year option for 2019, redid his contract, and signed him to an extension through the 2020 season. They couldn't do anything with Laramie Tunsil. I don't think they did it with Charles Harris because he got traded. Minka was traded, and I think they picked it up for Christian Wilkins last year. I think they did pick it up
Yeah, I
for
think
him
you're right.
last year.
Yeah.
Now, does it make sense to pick up the 5th-year option for Tua Tagovailoa? Yeah, I mean, it does. You play out the scenarios. I mean, he'll be the 15th highest paid quarterback in the league, and he's got good potential. I mean, you're going to be bringing back the same offense. Mike McDaniel should have learned some of the mistakes as well, improve the run game, maybe improve the offensive line. You have the same weapons and arguably a better defense, hopefully. If we're talking strictly about Tua, worst case scenario, he plays out the 5th-year option and the team moves on the year after.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he holds down the spot while a 2024 rookie is developing. And then best case scenario, you get a high-end starting caliber quarterback for another year at a steep discount.
Yeah.
Now, that's your argument, right?
Yeah, it's my argument. That's exactly my argument.
That's your argument. Now, here's my argument. Looking at the NFL salary cap situation, the cap is expected to go up by 8% annually. So this year it went up a little bit exponentially. The year after 2024, they're projecting to go up to 8%, and then the year after another 8% as well. Some of these quarterback contract numbers are going to be insane. We're hearing rumors about Daniel Jones getting 45 million,
He wants
Jalen Hurts,
45 million. I mean, good luck to him. He might
Jalen
get
Hurts,
40.
yeah, Jalen Hurts 50 million. I mean, God
Oh,
knows what Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow's contract is going to be like. So, I mean, hey, why not lock him into maybe a 35, 38, $40 million a year? You set the floor for the quarterback market and end up, other teams and end up having to pay higher every single year. And then the Dolphins, if you have extra money left over, Tua, does what we think he does, or, he outperforms it, you still have money left over to get more weapons. You make it team friendly at that point. Whereas he plays on the fifth year option, you're like, oh shit, he did well. You're gonna have to pay him more money, or like, oh crap, he underperformed. Well,
yeah.
now we have leverage in that sense. I think just locking him in for maybe 38, $40 million dollars a year, but putting stipulations and guarantees for playing time, I think that'll make more of a financial sense.
Would he agree to stipulations like that, or he and his agent? Because I think those things become harder and harder to put into contracts. It's just like
Right.
I just based
And
on your
it does
yeah
kind of make it harder to trade him too
yeah yeah
if you don't he
yeah.
doesn't perform to your expectations. But honestly, it's up to Tua, his agent, and what the Dolphins financial brass
Well, just
thinks.
like I hear what you're saying about, because and again, it's like a very half glass half full approach with Tua that, you want to, lock him in at kind of a hometown discount to set the floor on the market
Right.
for the long-term deal before guys like Burrow and Herbert get their deals, which I'm sure are going to be astronomical. Because you're thinking, what if he outperforms that? Then you'll be glad you got the discount. My big fear is I can't even think about, at least until after next season, I can't
Yeah.
think about negotiating a long-term deal with Tua because coming off of those concussions, I'm scared to death. Like if he gets one more concussion next year, what the narratives and what the conversations are going to be about his long-term future. So that's what scares me to death is you're wondering what if he overperforms, 38, 40 million a season. I'm worried you give 38, 40 million a season to a guy who may get concussed again, then all bets are off.
Right. Well, let me tell you something. Matthew Stafford is 40 million a year. Dak Prescott is 40 million a year. Derek Carr was 40.5 million a
Yeah.
year. Kirk Cousins was 35 million a year, and arguably you can say Tua is probably on the Kirk tier, maybe if not just a tad bit better. So if
Well,
Kirk
he was he,
Cousins,
he was on the he was a tad bit better than the Kirk tier for like 6 games last season. Though that's the
right,
problem. It was only a a month and a half
right,
stretch.
right, and then Jared Goff, $33.5 million. I
See,
mean,
I
you can
yeah,
you can make
yeah,
the argument. Yes, obviously, he's not going to make top 10 QB money. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is $45 million a year.
right.
You give him 5 million less, or you give him less guaranteed money, or you put a contract that has stipulations. Obviously, as a team, you want to protect yourself if harm comes. Now, again, you're talking about the Tua factor. Well, I want guaranteed money, like how Lamar Jackson is saying, hey, I have injury concerns. I would like to make sure I'm financially well. Tua, with his head injuries, he may want to think that, I want to protect myself. He may want to protect himself financially.
Yeah.
It's a dancing game with that.
Well, yeah, and that's true because I wonder, like, if they actually were to start negotiations this offseason, and I'm sure that there's going to be conversations had, right? Because I'm sure Tua's agent would kind of like to know where do things stand right now, and then from a Dolphin side of it, when those negotiations do start, if they haven't started already, um, the Dolphins will definitely try to use his injury history against him when it comes to the leverage. Like, these negotiations can get pretty personal sometimes. It's why I don't think Lamar Jackson is doing himself any favors by not having an agent because he's got to have some of these face to face conversations that would usually be had with the agent who can absorb some of that stuff. But, I'm sure the Dolphins, Hussam, they would try to get, like the most hometown friendly deal to say, oh
Right.
yeah, you think you're worth the type of money that that Patrick Mahomes is getting, but Patrick Mahomes doesn't get concussed every 4 games the way that you do.
Right. I mean, to think about it, Anthony Manzano saying the issue is that the Tua fan base believes his worth is Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers money. Let, let me break it down to you this way. Almost most of the quarterbacks that will get paid this season, next season, and the season after, they will be making more money than Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers just because of the salary cap situation and the inflation the NFL is bringing upon to teams and itself. So even though the play may not match up with the contract,
Yeah.
me as a person that thinks Tua will get better next season, he's still not going to get that Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers money at all.
Yeah, you're right, because within the next year, it'll be very easy to say, "Hey, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league," but he's not going to be the highest paid because you're
Right.
right.
I mean,
It's
we
always
said
it's
that we
always
said that for
inflating.
years with Brady, right?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
said that for
yeah,
years with Brady. Brady always took, a team-friendly deal. He wasn't the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. He made sure to keep money, money for the Patriots to get him weapons and
yeah.
stuff like that. I mean, not only that, the Dolphins exercised the fifth-year option for Ryan Tannehill as
Mm,
well, and then a couple months later, they gave him a long-term extension.
yeah,
That can also be, at play as well. If you think he's doing well mid-season, you can negotiate a contract, you can sign it, and then that'll go into effect after the 50-year option.
yeah. You saw that tweet from Mike Gesicki? That was some world class trolling. He reacted to the
I
Caleb
did.
Williams thing as well, and he's like, "Oh, didn't they tell you I'm going to be in Miami through 2024? Then maybe you can take over my condo lease." I mean, is
That
there?
that that was funny. That
No,
was
but
funny.
there's no. I mean, Mike Gesicki's gone, right? I mean, they're not going to
I
franchise him again.
I do think Mike Gesicki is gone. I don't think he fits with this offense. I think
No.
just based on the tight end usage which they used, Durham Smythe had more snaps
Yeah.
than Mike Gesicki as an inline blocker, and even in passing situations. I think that was pretty eye opening for me and to everybody else. I just don't think Mike Gesicki fits this
They
offense.
should have traded him, honestly. Like, I don't know why they didn't trade him at the
What,
deadline.
what, I mean, what do you think they would have gotten Gesicki for? I mean, if Gesicki leaves, they get
They, but
a compensatory third round
that's
pick.
true. That's true. That's a good point. That's a good
I mean,
point. I
if
was
he
gonna
leaves,
say I was
they
gonna
get,
say
they
for
get
a
that.
late round draft pick, but you're right. The compensatory pick would be
Yeah.
something like that.
So
Let's hold on. Let's talk about this in a second about getting the elite receivers. This graph here, because real quick, I want to remind people that we are brought to you by Prize Picks, PrizePicks.com, and the Prize Picks mobile app. Guys, Miami Heat are coming back tomorrow night to take on the Milwaukee Bucks. Finally, this dreaded All-Star break is going to be ending for our guys. Kevin Love is making his debut. So you're going to want to be getting some action at Prize Picks. It's so easy to sign up, and it's fully legal in the state of Florida, by the way. So you're not going through like China to get your money out. It's fully legal in Florida. So sign up at prizepicks.com or the Prize Picks mobile app. And when you sign up, use our code 5. You see it there, FIVE. Sign up with our code 5, and they're going to match your first deposit up to $100 when you use our code FIVE. So what you do is you select 2, 3, 4, 5 players, and you can go players from different games or even different sports, right? You can have a couple of NBA players, a couple of NHL players. MLS is coming back soon. You can put a couple soccer players in your selections, Champions League if it's on one of those days, and you just predict if those players are going to go over or under their stat projections. And if you get all those predictions right, you win money. You win 2 times, 5 times, 10 times, 20 times your money back by getting all your predictions correct. So make sure you sign up with our code 5 at prizepicks.com or the Prize Picks mobile app. Prize Picks truly is daily fantasy made easy. All right, so now Hussam, show us this graph. We were talking about this off air before we started. And make sure, by the way, for those who are listening to the audio feed, make sure you describe it a little bit because some folks listen to this on the 3 yards per carry podcast feed. So we're looking at a before after chart here. What would you call that? A graph? Like I don't even know how to
it's a bar graph.
bar graph.
I think you need to go back to Statistics 101.
I got a C in it. Statistics 101, C plus. Statistics 102. I got a
B plus
straight
or
C.
B minus?
Yeah. Well, I passed. I know that. I know I passed those classes. So
Okay, you passed those classes. So this graph we're looking right here. I was reading this article from Pranav Rajaram. He had his website's called the Flea Flicker. It's a Substack for Dat Boy Nice watchers and advanced stats nerds like myself. So he
You've already
combined.
lost me.
All
You
right.
lost. You had me at flea flicker, and then you lost me.
I had you at Flea Flicker, and then I lost you. Well, that, my friend, I do know that you are a Dat Boy Nice watcher.
That's right. Okay.
That's
Okay.
right. So basically, this graph shows EPA, that's effective points added before and after star receivers for quarterbacks such as Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Tua Tagovailoa, along with completion percentage over expected before and after star receivers. So we know, Jalen Hurts, he didn't have AJ Brown before. Now he does. Joe
Mm-hmm.
Burrow, he didn't have Jamar Chase before. Now he does with the Cincinnati Bengals. Josh Allen, he didn't have Stephon Diggs. Now he does. Tua Tagovailoa didn't have Tyreek Hill. Now he does. And with this graph, almost every single quarterback got exponentially better. So Josh Allen, his EPA was like 0.03, which is like pretty average for a
Yeah.
quarterback. And then after Stephon Diggs, it was looks like 0.23, which is a big giant jump to top 10
Huge.
quarterback.
Yeah.
For Tua, his EPA was 0.05, which is middle of the pack average. You bring in Tyreek Hill, that star wide receiver, it's almost up to 0.25, better than what Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Joe Burrow had their first seasons with their star wide receivers. I mean, you can also take a look on the completion percentage over expected. Hurts, he looked like a much, much better passer with A.J. Brown. Joe Burrow got exponentially better. Josh Allen was complete garbage
Yeah.
before Stephon Diggs, and he made him look like an all-star. And Tua, I mean, he had the second best CPOE without any star wide receiver. And then he just got a tad bit better with Tyreek Hill and just completion percentage. That's what we're talking about. But I mean, dude, you're going to have Tyreek Hill for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
You're also going to have Jalen Waddle for the next 2 to maybe 3 years if you don't sign him to a long-term deal. It works. It works. And I think that's my argument for, locking Tua up as early as possible.
Well, and the way the Dolphins have operated to this point is no matter what ESPN says about it, because they've been trying to they've been trying to trade Tua or get rid of Tua since like the first month of his career. No matter what they say, the Dolphins to this point have operated like a team that's building around Tua Tagovailoa, for better or for worse. Because again, when he's on the field healthy with this core and this coach, looked fantastic. Like he had probably the best month and a half. I mean, he was in the MVP conversation like through October. Like he had a spectacular start to the season. My primary concern now, it's really just the injuries. But the Dolphins have operated like an organization, including talking about how some scientists told them he's not at any further risk of future concussions, and they took that opinion to heart. So they've been operating like a team that is putting all their carts on the Tua horse.
I will say they are committed to Tua 100% after last offseason. Just the trade of Tyreek Hill basically said, all right, if you can show us with Tyreek Hill, if you can do well with him, we're game. We're game. Obviously, yes, we know the injuries take a factor. Almost every single quarterback gets injured. I mean, Justin Herbert got injured. Joe Burrow got injured. Tom Brady gets hurt. I mean, Tom Brady, he wasn't that hurt, but with no offensive line and weapons that were also hurt, he looked like an average quarterback, right? I think with Tua, we know what he is, but I think the best is still yet to come with him.
Now, I do want to ask you this question that Anthony asked on the chat. Can you see the Dolphins drafting all defense in 2023 with our premium kit picks, safety, linebacker, corner? I am expecting a defense-heavy draft, and I almost feel like that may have been a conversation they had with Vic Fangio to kind of sweeten that deal. Like, hey, we're going to try to address some of those needs that we have from last year.
I think from what I think when my mock draft comes out, which is going to be soon, with our premium picks, I do have a seeing us draft a linebacker.
Yeah.
However, with our first pick, I think we're going to go offense.
Oh, okay. What position?
But I do think it'll be a defensive heavy draft, especially on the linebacker and defensive back and the depth that we need over there.
if you think they go offense with the first pick, which is the second round pick,
Yep.
what position do you think they address?
I definitely think they'll go after running back
Okay.
in the second round. I was doing some research, some deep dive, analysis, data dive in. When I think about it, we do know that Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson are free agents. They're not on the roster, but they'll be cheap. They'll be
Yeah.
efficient. They were efficient last year, but you need a bell cow back, right? Raheem Mostert, he has his injuries. Jeff Wilson Jr., he also has his injuries, and the Shanahan type of system for running backs, they get hurt and they get hurt a lot. So I do think they'll draft a young running back that doesn't have a lot of touches, that can be healthy, that can help out in the passing game. Which running back it'll be depends on what they value in the second round at running back.
Hmm. Real quick, I want to read this one from Anthony. I think they just said that they're 100% behind Tua during that after the season press conference to please the Tua fan base. So I think he's saying that Tuanon is having an influence over the media conferences the Dolphins are doing.
I think Dolphins fans try to read into things
Well, and I
a
think
bit too
who
much.
some actions speak louder than words because I
Yeah.
don't even care what they say in press conferences. Like they made the Tyreek Hill trade, they made the Bradley Chubb trade last year, which they gave up a prime draft pick that could have been used to replace Tua or be part of a trade package to replace Tua. So I think that their actions speak louder than their words here.
I mean, if you remember last offseason, Nick Sirianni never said that. He actually got asked a question, asking if he thinks Jalen Hurts is definitively the starting quarterback for him last season, and he said no, it's an open competition.
Wow. Well, and Sirianni went on to win a suit. Well, play in a suit. I almost gave him the win. He went on to play in a Super Bowl. So maybe the Dolphins should create a competition here, Hussam, and motivate Tua the way that the Eagles motivated Jalen Hurts. How about that? Maybe they're treating Tua with the kid gloves. They're being too soft on him.
You think so?
I do think so, actually.
You think they're going to draft Will Levis?
I would not draft that guy because he eats the banana skins, doesn't he? And he puts
No,
mayonnaise in his coffee.
he puts mayo in his coffee.
No,
That's
he
what.
does both. He eats banana
Oh yeah,
skins
yeah.
as well. He doesn't. He's a savage. He doesn't peel it. He just bites into the banana, and he puts mayonnaise in his coffee. I listen, man. I'm not opposed to drafting a quarterback with an early pick, but keep Will Levis the hell away from my city. I can't have this guy here. So we're gonna wrap it up on that note. I will be back tomorrow in this time slot, and Hussam, you can hang out if you want to. I'm gonna be with Lewis Sung tomorrow because
Oh,
Troy.
can I make fun of Lewis?
Yeah, I
All
don't
right.
see why not. You can make fun of me too all you want.
I
Lewis
always
can
make
make fun
fun
of
of
you
you.
back though.
Yeah. Oh, I can take it. I always make fun of you. You know that.
I love it. Yeah, so we'll do it up big again tomorrow around the same time, 4 o'clock. Make sure you guys are supporting Prize Picks. Prize Picks mobile app. Sign up with our code 5. That's FIVE. They'll match your first deposit up to $100. And I'll talk to you guys again tomorrow on another
Wait,
episode.
wait, wait,
Wait,
wait. Do
wait.
not just leave just yet.
Okay, what's going on? Some
Have a
breaking
special
news?
announcement. Scouting Combine also tomorrow, right after the extra yard. Have a prospect coming on, safety,
Really?
linebacker, hybrid guy, maybe a fit for this Vic Fangio defense. Make
Okay.
sure you guys tune after the extra yard tomorrow.
I love that. So after the extra yard scouting combine with Hussam, who does an awesome job, one of the hardest working men on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. We will talk to you guys next time on the extra yard right here on 5 Reasons YouTube. See ya.